Hello, hello. Oh, I've got my music page still up. That's fine. Here's the book page. That's what we're supposed to be seeing. We got two people in here. I don't know. Should I wait a second and make sure more people show up? What do y'all think? The two of you that are here, drop something in the comments. We're doing chapter 10 of Batman: The Rise of Sin Tzu today. Going over Sin Tzu. I don't know who's here, so I'm not sure if you guys have been here with us, but essentially this book breaks every chapter down by a different character's perspective, and just goes one by one to be like, okay, this is what Batgirl was doing, then this is what Nightwing was doing, and then this is what oh, there's three of you here. But yeah, so it it breaks things down, to do character by character. This specific chapter is on Sin Tzu, who's had, like, I think this is his third chapter so far. It seems like, for the most part, this book's not gonna end up canoning, but that's a-okay. It's been a fun read so far. We're almost at the end. We're at chapter 10 of 14. I've spent a week wondering what Sin Tzu will think and if he ever dated Nightwing. Right? Like these are the big questions, We end the last chapter, Batgirl's chapter, talking about, like, Nightwing smut. I'm hoping that carries over to today. Okay, it looks like a couple people are in here now. There's at least 4 of you in the chat, so might as well hop into it. As per usual, I'll be stopping every couple. Let me kind of boost that up. That way, I'm more in frame. Yeah, I'll be stopping every couple pages to put down notes and everything. But yeah, we can talk about that when we get there. So, without further ado, Chapter 10, Sin Tzu, 3:15 a.m. Clayface has been defeated. The weapons of mass destruction will soon be in the Batman's hands, if it is not already. In mere moments, he will convey it to his secret lair. It is the only location he can take the weapon to disarm it, given that Gotham is in chaos. He must know that I have carefully crafted the dilemma that binds him. The Batman has proven to be a scholar of my work. He knows the best defense is always a devastating attack on your enemy's stronghold. Attack it openly if you know its location to draw your opponent to defend it. Or, if it is secret, attack it by stealth, the better to take him unawares. In his heart, he must not know that, had destruction of the city been my goal, I would simply have unleashed my lethal weapon openly. So clearly, this ship of deadly crates is a trap. A trap he must take back with him to his hidden fortress, the Batcave. I have already assaulted the Batman city, but I have not yet violated his home, his secret nest. Now he is forced to open his most private, most vulnerable place to me. He has no choice. He must either ignore the weapons of mass destruction or ignore the battle on the streets. Let me flip the page for you guys. Oh, there it's going. Well, there it goes. Alright. We all know somewhere out there James is showering. Exactly. Hi, Maddie. Hello, crusading fish. And he loves his city. He is mired in compassion for its citizenry, so he cannot take the chance that this weapon is a ruse. He cannot follow his heart, and yet he does not believe his mind. He is torn between the yin and the yang. This is the most artful and exquisite dilemma in which one commander can place another. But even within that art, there is a greater art still. The Batman and I have spoken, at last. We have seen each other's faces. He begins to understand the scope of our conflict, and he knows that he dances to my tune. It goes well. I reflect on what was said, his verbal sparring, his obvious knowledge of my writings. I think about his voice, dark and jagged. Was it that conversation that made me hunger for more direct contact? Or was this always our fate? For after our conversation, and as he made his way from the defeated monsters arena atop Gotham Chemical to the docks, I allowed myself a moment's indulgence. I dipped gently into Metasua and sent my inner eye roving through the streets, seeking out one of the warriors I had planted in Gotham's byways. I had planned a small diversion for the Batman on his way to the mysterious weapon of mass destruction. One of my eternal elite guards planted among his likeliest route. Certainly my warrior could face the Batman on its own. But I longed to see the Batman in action myself. I spied the Dark Knight from the corners of my consciousness. As expected, he had chosen his path through the most problematic streets, the ones not covered by his costume warriors. Compassion again, his incessant need to care for and protect this city. Imagine this being this horny for a man. I mean, hey, we all know how, which one was it? Was it Batman Forever or whatever, where that reporter was just like, hey, Batman, I turned on the bat signal just to get you here because I'm horny for you. Was that Batman Forever? It's been so long since I've watched those movies. I tried to watch them all again recently, but... When I found him, he was effortlessly dispatching some of the denizens of Stonegate Prison. I settled in... Wait, where is Din? Din, where you at? He's usually here for these. I settled in behind the eyes of my guard to watch. His fighting style is truly remarkable. He possesses both speed and power, and eliminates anticipation. Chase Meridian, yeah, that's the one. He possesses both speed and power, and eliminates anticipation of his blows by never using the same move twice. Each opponent was neutralized in a unique manner. He effortlessly switched strategies from intimidation to stealth, and back again. Never had I seen such a creature. My appetite for battle was honed. I abandoned my earlier plans of creating a slight delay for the Batman and resolved to truly test his skills against my best guards, one of the eternal elite, face to face. Psychologist, I think it was. Yeah. That's right. Yep, you guys got that right. I'm trying to, like... I tried watching that movie at my old apartment, so it was probably within, like, the last year, but, like, you know, the last, 7 months feel like they've been 15 years, so... Who knows? The sensation of pain broke suddenly through my mental armor. A hot, tight cramp in my left temple. The spirits screeched. They told me that I was foolish, arrogant, brash. I shouted them down. It is quite possible that before this night ends, I will face the Batman myself. It would be ludicrous to ignore that opportunity to gain an upper hand. And should my elite kill him, then the matter will be solved. His unworthiness proved. I had kept away from the field long enough this night. I had earned this one match. The spirits clamored for my attention, filling my mind with curses and mumbles in 1,000 voices. But I ignored them. I am Sin Tzu. The night is mine. I activated my eternal elite. A moment before, he had appeared to be a life-size clay statue on the streets of Chinatown. Once initiated, he revealed himself for what he truly was. A master of the ancient killing arts. Or the ancient arts of killing, you know, whatever, same thing. The Batman spun and saw him instantly. Never before had I witnessed such an eye for the battle. He's instinctive, hyper alert. He leapt into action, even as he flew through the air in a move that was both evasive and offensive. A move with no name. I know he was assessing the skills of my warrior. He saw the dagger, useful as both a ranged and close weapon. He saw the sword. He was fully in the moment. Let's see. Turn it page. So far, the only thing that's really been mentioned that I don't think we have notes of yet is, that's my notes, is that mention of Chinatown just there, which may have very well been mentioned somewhere else before, but, you know, let's go ahead and mark that. And then, time, you know, it's 3:15 a.m. That's not right. That's the Twitch tab, which I don't even need. Back to the book. There we go. He landed on top of a scowling stone food dog that guarded a nearby Chinese restaurant. He seemed to balance uneasily. Before I could consider, I telepathed to the guard to throw the dagger. It whizzed through the air, directly toward the bat on my enemy's chest. I saw a flash of teeth, a laugh, or a grimace. My answer came as the Batman deftly swiped the dagger from the air and then calmly inspected it. I realized that his off-balanced appearance was, in fact, a ruse which effectively disarmed my guard of both a close kill and ranged weapon. And although I cursed my gullibility, I could not help but feel a thrill of anticipation. This battle will indeed be an event match. The Batman regarded the dagger first as a weapon, and then as an artifact. Pre-dynastic, he said to himself as much as to my automaton. Flawless craftsmanship. This ought to be in a museum, not a street fight. He jumped from the food dog to a flagpole, from the flagpole to a balcony, from the balcony to statuary, and then from building to building, from light to darkness, circling behind my fighter, causing him to reposition himself in the center of the street. I realized that he was testing both for speed and range of motion. He had seized the facing initiative so that my guard had to react to whatever he did. He fought in the street the way one might command a battle. His strategy and tactics were flawless. The Batman fainted, close enough to watch how my guard handled a sword. Close enough that the automaton was forced to swing at him. Far enough that he couldn't hit the Batman. That he could not hit. There was a period. Duh. The Batman had not yet used an offensive attack. All know that the Batman does not use firearms or explosives, which would have ended the fight in an instant. But why didn't he use one of his curved batarangs? I saw him size up in a glance the studded leather armor that my guard wore. No, a batarang would not penetrate its thickness. The Batman probed for weaknesses. Quickly, I reviewed. I could think of nothing extraordinary, save for the vulnerability all armor possesses by necessity. The eye slits, the breathing holes, the joints, the thickness that could slow my warriors down. And then I knew that that was precisely what the Batman would exploit. Finally, the Batman made his first attack. Gas. He dropped a pellet. I forced the guard to collapse. He resisted. A true warrior does not give up the fight. For a moment I was surprised, my eternal elite questioning my command, but it passed swiftly. The guard dropped to the ground. The Batman approached him warily. I waited for the precise moment to strike. And then I had to laugh. The Batman had anticipated this. He jumped out of the way as the sword moved in an arcing blow. By then, I knew that my intended ruse of falling was a mistake. The Batman had immediately detected my deceit. He had traded the risk of a stunning sword blow for the advantage he would gain if my guard ever hit the ground. As my guard attempted to get up in his bulky armor, the Batman was quick. He slid his hand under the guard's helmet and around to the back of his neck. He squeezed, but the response was not what he expected. For the warriors of my eternal elite are not living things and cannot be stunned. Well, then what are these warriors? Are they made out of, like, chocolate pudding? Are they zombies? How can you be telepathic with something that's not alive? Right? That's a question. I'm gonna stretch for a second. Ugh. Alright, let's go. The Batman recoiled and looked at his hand, covered in dust. I saw his face shift as he realized that the guard was dead. Thousands of years old, or thousands of years dead, but yet living. Okay, so it is a zombie. But how do you I don't understand the science of being telepathic with a zombie. Like, I know zombies themselves are not science, but he did. He acted instantly. His hand swung in a mighty blow, dislodging the soldier's mask. My guard fell again to the ground. I was taken aback. How did the Batman discover my eternal elite's weakness so quickly? I rushed to disengage myself from the shattering clay figure. For few men know this, but all living things die in degrees. Even at the moment of death, some senses live on, polluting the metasua for minutes, even hours. The energy of dying is exhilarating, brilliant, overwhelming. I did not want its oily weight distracting my mind. I mean, he slid his hand within the guard's clothes and caressed the back of his neck. Are you sure you know what he... I mean, hey, you know, Batman can get frisky on a rooftop with someone who's trying to kill him. Happened in, what, Batman Damned, right? Him and Harley got it on, so, you know. I retrieved my consciousness just in time. I could only imagine how my guard saw the world as the Batman pulled off its clay mask, and the look of surprise and revulsion on the Batman's face when the soldier crumbled to dust the moment its face was exposed to the air of the night. The Batman instantly turned and disappeared into the shadows. He did not linger. There is a city to save still. He resumed his advance towards the docks. And now my guard is dead, truly irretrievably dead. Only a handful more remain with me in the shipment. Only a handful more remain with me in the shipment I have allocated to Gotham for this battle. The spirit voices stab at me with accusing tones. One of the most loyal of their eternal elite is gone. I fight down their cries. I will replenish our army from the vanquished, I tell them. Even the Batman himself might serve as one of my soldiers after his utter and abject defeat. For I have written, you cannot trust a man until you have crushed his soul, and then given it back to him. The spirits growl and hiss and howl. I am too caught up in this challenge, they cry. Too caught up in him. I am not heeding their wisdom. I have made the mistake of allowing myself to be distracted from the fight, to focus on one figure only. That I myself have selected the Batman as my specific opponent means nothing to the spirits. They care only for conquest on its most impersonal scale. I argue back. I defend myself with our own words. If you enter a battle knowing neither your thoughts nor your enemy's thoughts, you have no chance of winning. RE Science. I guess the underlying nervous system is intact enough to be controlled, but not enough to suffer from a neck. See, maybe, but like, you'd think like the neural networks and stuff that like you need to use to like, you know, control a brain would kind of be like not active at all after 1,000 years of being dead. But, you know, what do I know? I have gained information and I have lost nothing, but still they clamor. To quiet them, I close my eyes and summon images of hatred and greed, vague and personal, I control the masses of Stonegate Prison through general telepathy. With a single Metasua-fueled mental flick, I exhort my berserker masses to remember the moment of their capture and imprisonment. I send them images of treasure to be plundered. I care not what happens to them. Many times I send them to their deaths, if death helps accomplish their objective. Oh, great spirits, you think me weak? My plans foolish? You think I cannot spare a moment to plumb the weakness of my enemy counterpart in this war? You're wrong, and you distract me from my greater purpose. Perhaps the student has finally outstripped the masters. See my strategy in action. I show them one criminal among my thousands, a hulking, sweaty mass of a man with 4 days stubble on his iron jaw. Even now, he rushes a police barricade with a bottle full of gasoline. Fear drips from the police officer, who is contaminated with compassion. He does not want to kill the man. As the criminal draws close, the policeman hesitates, his finger on the trigger. At the last possible moment, he fires his weapon. There is a loud detonation. Lead rips through the chest of the attacker, but still he comes. I do not expect a police officer to have that much restraint during a riot of thousands of inmates having broken out and terrorizing the city. But okay, Devin, Grayson, and Flintdill. Who the fuck even are these spirits, and why are they bothering him like a flock of aunties? Okay, so like a couple chapters back in Sin Tzu's, like in one of Sin Tzu's backstory things, essentially like he was kind of trekking Asia with like a group of, I think they said they were gypsies. It might have been something different, and maybe like exiled warriors or something like that. It's been a couple of weeks, so I don't remember the specifics, but they came upon a cave that had like a whole bunch of treasure in it, and like most of the folks with him were like, "Ooh, treasure, hell yeah!" But like Sin Tzu went deeper and deeper into the cave, and ended up coming in contact with these spirits, which I feel like the book is kind of playing as if maybe they're spirits, or maybe he just went mad going like, you know, that deep into the cave. But the fact that he has magic telepathy kind of makes me assume that it's actual spirits. But that's just me though. Where are we at? He lets go of the bottle. As with many crises, this creates a moment of temporal distortion, a long drawn-out instant as the bottle tumbles through the air. All eyes watch. The criminal falls backward, instinctively clutching a hand to his bleeding wound. The policeman dives, eyes dilated with fear. There is an exquisite sound of shattering glass as the bottle strikes a police car. There is the whump of gasoline igniting. The squad car is instantly consumed by flames. The police retreat. The vicious fire spreads. I withdraw from the scene, secure in the knowledge that I have shown the spirits enough. It is clear what will happen next. The flames will eat their way through to the gas tank of the police car and force it to explode, sending fire and metal soaring all directions. Many of the attackers will be killed. Police will be wounded. The conflagration will spread to buildings nearby. Eventually, the heat of the twisted metal will ignite the many rounds of live ammunition in the police car. Stray bullets will fly, spreading chaos. Other abandoned police cars nearby will flame, and the pattern will repeat. The fires in the buildings will spread. When the firemen reach the scene, some of their own will be hit by the exploding bullets. In the end, it will be necessary for all of the Stonegate criminals to die. One cannot command troops for long when he does not fully trust them. They are useful but expendable, ultimately of low karma and unworthy. The spirits seem appeased. They do not distrust the plan. It's only my obsession with the Batman as a rival that makes them uneasy. I wish I understood why. Behind me, I feel the two ninja guards on the balcony shift. My guards, I have written. Soldiers only fight for a small set of motives. Love of their commander, fear of their commander, hatred of the enemy, hope for treasure, or love of the battle itself. The more of these motives that are present, the harder the troops will fight. The commanding general must fuel all of these when possible. The great commander knows why his forces fight for him. My eternal elite fight for me out of necessity, for I am the Sin Tzu, the incarnation of the great commanders they have followed for thousands of years. I use them sparingly because they are finite. I was granted 300 of them in the tomb. Some dozens of them have been spent through the years in my earlier battles. I shipped a mere handful here with me to Gotham, and now one of this precious number is gone due to my lust to engage the Batman. Then so be it. When Gotham is conquered, I will write a new maxim of battle. All troops, no matter how loyal or specialized, are expendable in the face of battle. Perhaps the spirits become over-sentimental. The guards behind me are humans, ninja. They fight for me out of reverence, awed by my powers and by what I have allowed the Eternal Guard to teach them. I can sense their slow, polluted minds behind me. One is unquestioning, but the other entertains doubt in his sad excuse for a brain. That pathetic muddy wad denser even than the clay bricks within my stone eternal elite. The cops, one of those kids who grew up wanting to do good and thought that the police was the best way to do that instead of, becoming a firefighter or a doctor. This night brought him one step closer to being fully fused into the system. Well, it sounds like he'll probably just die instead, but yeah, that could happen too. Let's see. Okay. There haven't really been a lot of notes yet. I don't think that I have specifically jotted down the Eternal Elite or the spirits, because the spirits don't really have a name, and I feel like I've been thinking that Eternal Elite was a reference to not Batman, Bane, Clayface, and Scarecrow. But I think he's been calling them his commanders actually. So let's see, and then there was the Eternal Elite. Oh, that's two T's. Have been dead for thousands of years. But yeah, so far not a lot of notes. Feels like we're kind of just blowing through this chapter. Load the page. There it goes. He does not approve of my choice of tactics. He does not like the way I use the Batman's strange modern communicator to steer the battle. Like the spirits, he does not trust the way I turned from the battle to focus on my foe. This distrust cannot be tolerated. I have written, far more dangerous than any enemy is an ally who stands in the way of victory. The worst of those is he who doubts his commander, for he will sow the seeds of insurrection. I love how, Sin Tzu's whole thing is I'm right, because I wrote it somewhere at some point, some time ago, and nobody decided to disagree with me then. Bro, I don't know, did these spirits, see your books that you wrote Like, what is... It does not matter that he has fighting skills beyond the ken of most mortal men, nor does it matter that he sacrificed any chance at a normal life to join my ranks. The spirits from whom I receive my power may question. My foot soldiers may not. Still facing the theater of my war, my back to both ninja guards, I summon the Yanjin with a motion in my mind that is echoed by my body, a slow, graceful coming together of the hands, collecting the power, and then throwing it outward in a sudden, deathly release. It radiates from my entire being, hitting the targeted ninja like a shockwave. His eyes grow huge, and his mouth opens in a terrified questioning, "Oh." His face and body begin to compact, as if all his flesh is being squeezed together by some invisible exterior force. Blood seeps from his bulging eyes, his ears, his body starts to vibrate on an increasingly frantic frequency, forcing his posture to go rigid as his tongue rolls out from his mouth, flaccid and dry. Well, it seems like if Sin Tzu was actually being serious about all of this, he would have just gone and done like a small crime worthy of like Batman's like attention, and then just pulled that move, right? Like just fucking crumpled his body with the magic Yanjin, and then been like, okay, now I'll take over Gotham from here. Flaccid and dry. The ninja beside him steps quickly away, an instinctive move tinged as much with revulsion as fear. The Yanjin will not touch him unless I direct it towards his unique energy signature. But in his frantic ignorance, he considers throwing himself off the tower to spare himself his associate's fate. I bask in his terror. One component of all reverence is fear. For must not all creatures both love and tremble before their gods? Vibrating at ever-increasing frequencies, the targeted guard finally ceases movement altogether, seeming to hang in mid-air, as if suspended by his own excruciating pain. As I again begin to chant and summon the Yanjin, the doubting one doubts no longer. He knows that his fate is sealed. His eyes roll toward me as if begging for forgiveness. But the fool should know better than to expect mercy from Sin Tzu. I do not harbor the Batman's weakness for compassion. I will not be made to entertain limitations such as mercy or doubt. The entire world twists and distorts as I suck in not only the light and electricity around me, but also the sound and microwave. I guess this is the move that he was doing in the photo that I used to like promote today's stream. The entire world twists and distorts as I suck in not only the light and electricity around me, but also the sound and microwaves which constantly flow through the air. I summon them, process them, and then I unleash them, full force onto my guard. With one final scream of spiritual agony only I can hear, he crumbles to dust before us, leaving a small pile of sandy ash. I watch as it sifts gently from the bat-carved floor of the balcony. It powders me, the boots of my loyal guard, and those of the second guard who comes instantly to replace the traitor. By now, these guards have washed all thoughts of him from their minds. They think only of the battles ahead. From my vantage post at Arkham, I survey the grounds. My eyes burn. The sky is filled with fire and smoke. All of the smells have merged into one smell. A scent so thick, it is better called to the taste of battle. My ears are filled with cacophony. Sirens wail in all directions. The continuous sounds of shattering glass and gunshots merge with the static of captured police scanners, AM, FM, and satellite radios. Televisions playing simultaneously in the homes of frightened civilians across the city. Everywhere there is confusion. Police call out for backup that will never come. They have no idea what to attack or where. Citizens can neither fight nor flee. Okay, so that's worth mentioning. I think that like satellite radio is around. That was a big deal like in the early 2000s, I feel like. Which is kind of funny. Like looking back on it. But like, man, my stepdad was so proud to have satellite radio in his car. When did they even start doing satellite radio? What's the origin of that? Well, that loads. What do you got going on? That's not honorable. He seeks a glorious battle with Bruce. It would be boring to just take him out in his sleep or catch him off guard and back. I mean, sure, it'd be boring, but like, come on, man. The spirits are nagging you. They say victory above everything. Same reason people don't just put the cheat codes in video games. Ah. Is there like a Wikipedia? Yeah, okay. When did satellite radio start? We're almost done with the chapter, and like we're only 36 minutes into the what's usually an hour and a half long stream. Is inducted into the Space Foundation's Hall of Fame in 2002. Okay, so it was around before 2002. First satellite radio broadcasts occurred in Africa and the Middle East in 1999. First U.S. broadcasts were in 2001. Okay. Gotcha. So that's definitely worth... Alright. Now we know about satellite radio. Boom, 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 boom. Let's flip the page. Honestly though, sometimes I do just be putting the cheats into video games. It depends. Like, if it's an older game and it's like, oh, I want to, play this with my pals, but like the stuff's not unlocked, then I'll be like, hey, let's go. I was born the same year satellite radio debuted in the U.S. Wild. I was born 10 years before it. Wow, I'm old. Damn, so you were born, hold on. So you were born like the year that 9/11 happened. That's like one of the like weirdest things to me, right? Is that like 9/11 was like an insanely huge thing, right? I was in 4th grade, 5th grade, I think, and it's weird to me to like think about the fact that like we're now living in a time where there are adults who weren't alive for that. Like, if you count adult as like 18, there are adults that weren't alive for 9/11, and it's Jesus, man. Like, I remember, like, we were like, teacher rolled in a big ass tube TV on like a cart, and we stopped classes that day and just like watched the news. And like, I was in 5th grade, right? So I was like 10. I was 10, and we were watching like this traumatic event, like, and had it's just so weird to think about. 2.5 months old when it happened. Wow. That's wild. Where were we? Oh, they're talking about the radio and stuff. They have no idea what to attack or where. Citizens can neither fight nor flee. It is the music of victory. The spirit voices congratulate me. The swift reprimand has soothed their concerns. Once again, we are of one mind, one body. I have triumphed. United, we turn our attention back to the war on Gotham. The union of Sin Tzu and the voices of the Metasua cannot be defeated by any earthly means. The Batman is doomed. The one device I would like to listen to is silent, the communicator the Batman uses with the others. They are now aware that I share their frequencies, and that I will be listening. Perhaps they knew this earlier, but the Batman knows that I know, so there is no tactical advantage left in their use. Neither he nor Gordon nor the others under the Batman's command will say anything they do not intend for me to hear. Perhaps the spirits were correct. Was it wise to speak and thus let him know that I was listening to him? Would it have been more judicious to remain silent? Perhaps one day I will look back and see that the moment I confronted the Batman after Clayface had fallen was the moment when I turned the battle against myself. The one single solitary act in which I gave in to my vanity and taunted my opponent. No! The highest art of generalship is to place one's opponent in the opposition from which any path he takes will lead to his destruction. My communication was necessary, a part of the overall battle plan. I have achieved my goals here as I have in the past. My skill is uncompromised, my strategy flawless. The Batman is out of the battle. Even now, he ferries the boxes, holding the mysterious weapon of mass destruction to his hidden lair. I will not make the mistakes of underestimating him now. No matter what the spirits claim to know, the Batman is to find the tools of his defeat on the Gotham Pier. The Batman once again made the compassionate choice to sacrifice himself, if necessary, for Gotham. And once again, it will be his downfall. I close my eyes in meditation. This time, the spirits leap to aid my contemplation. I ignore the sounds around me. I ignore the tastes and smells. I imagine myself in the Stygian? What is Stygian? What is that word? What is Stygian? Relating to the Styx River. Where was I imagine myself in the Stygian darkness. Okay. We got like... So we've had, I know I'm in the middle of the page, but like we haven't really been like skipping over to notes that much, and I'm already here. We had Styx show up in Justice League, right? Like that's how they went to see Medusa. So I'm gonna say that it's a real place, but. Stygian. Styx is the river you cross in Greek. Yeah. Yeah, I know what Styx is, but I've never heard Stygian. Huh. I reach out to channel the Batman's thoughts. What is he thinking? Does he suspect the nature of the latest trap I have set for him? I do not tap the Metasua to enter and twist his mind. That pleasure I leave for later. For now, I have no need. I know what he is thinking. He is thinking about me. I imagine his thoughts, and having finally heard his voice, I am able to have the sense of hearing them aloud. Why is he imagining his thoughts? Just use the telepathy. These are Batman's thoughts out loud. From Sin Tzu, I must expect deceit. Strategies within strategies, tricks within tricks. Deceit wrapped in other deceits. The question is, how do I defend against him? Perhaps he carries with him a gadget that could disarm a chemical weapon. He is a man of devices and tools because he lacks extraordinary superhuman powers. But my weapon of mass destruction is of such a scale that I doubt any mere handheld tool will match the challenge. Whatever the Batman's secret hideout, he must have a splendid array of equipment. Let's flip the page. Hey, look at this. It's 12:45 and we're already coming to the end of the chapter. Well, you can't look at it yet. It's loading. But look at this. Look at this. We're already at the end. Thinking back, the 2000s/early 2010s were a bloody wild time to grow up, man. I was just starting secondary school when the Mayan calendar panic happened, and one of my earliest memories was my family discussing Obama's 2008 election victory. Yeah, like that. Oh my God. Like, imagine growing up like in the 90s, right? Like we like, you don't really have much of that at all, you know? Like everything's all well and good, generally speaking, you know. And then all of a sudden George Bush gets into office and boom, 9/11 happens, and all of a sudden we're just at nonstop war for the rest of forever. And then the housing crisis happens. And then, you know, just all the other, why we didn't get internet until I was 8 and it was dial-up. Oh God, I don't miss that. I don't miss dial-up internet at all. I know that he has these electronic crutches because he could not function without them. Somewhere there must be a gymnasium. I suspect there are quintains. That is a new word for me as well. What is the definition of that? A post set up as a mark in tilting with a lance, typically with a sandbag attached that would swing around and strike an unsuccessful tilter. Okay. I think I generally know what they're talking about. I suspect there are quintains of amazing complexity, for one cannot keep up such mental focus and physical strength without constant training, though I am sure his nightly prowls keep him in top physical form. I feel equally sure that he punishes himself with a formal exercise regime. He is a man of iron discipline. Perhaps he keeps trophies, those things to remember his successes, or, more likely, those things that goad him with his defeats. Intriguing bits of torture to remind him that he is, after all, mortal and fallible. Does he keep something that harkens back to the source of his rage? Is there a shrine? Or does he keep his den sparse and bare, an altar of technological marvels? I know of the Batmobile, the Batplane, and the Batboat. Where I have my spirits and the aid of the Metasua, we must rely on the earthly network of supercomputer telecommunications and surveillance equipment. We each are attached to our net of control. Is it likely that one mere man can command all of these resources? I know of his costume captains out on the field. They are effective, true. I counted on their efforts to free the Batman from the raging war in Gotham and isolate him within his cave, but I do not feel the presence of a cohesive team. I do not think the Batman has brothers and sisters. I do not think he has a wife. I do not sense a lover. I suspect his life is as celibate as mine. It is unlikely that he has close relationships at all. Allies, yes, but kept at a distance. He would not possess anything that would distract him from his mission. I am certain that the Batman has no human links. Now my younger sister's growing up in the Trump-Boris era, which, Christ, that's going to fuck up a whole... Right? Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've been saying it, you know, at least since the protests started, but I'm sure it can go back like even further than that. But like once we get to the other side of this, there's gonna be like so much trauma that like needs to be processed. Like it's ridiculous. I can't even fathom, you know. Not even like, not even just the adults that are there in the protest, but like, you know, a lot of the protests are like intended to be peaceful, and children are brought out, and all of a sudden, you know, you're seeing here in Seattle, like, there was a child that was pepper sprayed, like, on the first fucking day of it all. And I mean, I'm sure even like dealing with it secondhand, like seeing news sources and stuff where like you don't have a full understanding of what's going on, and you go from, you know, watching things like Paw Patrol or other, you know, general children's programs that are like, hey, the cops are, you know, mostly good, and then all of a sudden it's like day in, day out there is like police violence that's happening over and over and over. That's one of the things that's taking me out of this book a little bit, right? Because like the whole thing is about a prison break and riots that ensue, and like, you know, we were just told that like part of the rioting is like due to like Sin Tzu or whatever, but like it's got me thinking, like, you know, this Stonegate, they said in this book, was over capacity. So like, how many of these people were in there like for non-violent crimes, you know, and we're being told that like they're all, you know, rioters that are like joining up with like the Aryan Brotherhood and stuff like that, like within the context of it's like within the context, like it makes sense because, oh, that's how the story happens, but like with the real world implications that we're living in, it's yeah, what does the other side of this even mean? I don't know. Hopefully it means a better world, but who knows? Where were we? I am certain that the Batman has no human links. In that way, the Batman and I are curiously alike. Perhaps that is what draws me to this polluted western town, with its meaningless loops of commercial, political, and criminal activity. Of all the generals I have faced, only the Batman seems to feel no love for life. The very things he protects in Gotham, hope, innocence, weakness, he does not value in himself. He has sacrificed them on the altar of Gotham. Like me, he serves a demanding god, but while I serve war, what does the Batman serve? No matter. Such speculation is futile. The spirits prickle at the edges of my mind, and I obey. I must move quickly now. Should the Batman survive, I must prepare for our inevitable clash. I almost feel joy at the thought the master of fear and the malleable one have fallen. One more remains. Bane. Like, what event will happen, and then we just turn the page? I mean, I honestly don't know, right? Because we're not given. It's got to be like a bunch of events, you know, because we right now, as far as like electorally goes, like I don't expect Joe Biden to take care of the problem, you know, like he's gonna be better than Trump if he wins. But I don't expect him to take care of the problem. There's so much that needs to be done. Obviously, you know, getting progressives into Congress, like to a number where it's just like Biden will have to like sign off on the things that they try to push through. Like people are gonna need to, you know, pay a lot of attention electorally, like at the local level, get people in that like are willing to defund the police and move resources to like things that you know promote community health. Like it's ridiculous that like the same people that deal with traffic tickets also have to deal with like drug related incidents and have to deal with like domestic you know, domestic disputes and stuff like that. Like there's there's way too much that was all compacted into one entity. There's I don't there's so much that needs to happen. There's just a ridiculous amount. And like even then with all like with the best possible solutions, you know, happening in every area, like there are still people who have you know, like these racist, you know, tendencies inside of them, you know, that like, how do we manage dealing with that? How do we, you know, make sure that they're not going to act on their own and strike out, right? Because we're seeing like cases of lynching and like stuff like that, and it's just, there's so much. Maybe it's not one exact event. Yeah, exactly. I've been trying my best to keep her on track, but between us being in a predominantly conservative family in a mostly conservative region of the UK, the amount of bad actors online who are paid to promote shitty political ideas, and the fact that I've barely seen her since Corona hit, I can't help but worry being at home for a week helped ease my concern. Are we talking about her? Are we talking about your mom? Is that... Oh, your younger sister. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. I had to look back up in the chat. And yeah, conspiracy buff's right. It's not just one event. It's a constant domino effect of progressive activism and pushing for change. That's just it. At the end of the day, what has to change is common citizens. We need to do stuff from the ground up, and I feel like after, we're not going to be able to look back and point to a time when we went from one side to... Yeah, it's gonna be a lot, right? And like that's one of the things that like I've been trying to be like vocal about, like as far as the protests go, is like a lot of the white folks that I've seen you know, protesting, like have like anti-Trump signs and stuff like that, and like link this all to Trump, when like, you know, this has been like the lives of you know, this entire community for what, like at least 400 years. I might, was it the 1400s or the 1600s that like that you know, people were brought over to slavery? I think it was the 1600s. But yeah, like this has been going on for years. Like Black Lives Matter started under Obama, right? And so like by linking it to Trump, while Trump is bad, while Trump is evil, while Trump is like, you know, potentially the worst president we've had, like, I mean, I feel like he's as destructive as George Bush, but just much more vocal about it. Like, if we link it to Trump, if we say all of these problems go away when Trump goes away, then we end up giving ourselves like leeway to disengage when these problems have been around before him and will be around after him. You know, Joe Biden is one of the architects of like the crime bill and the war on drugs and just all of that, and it just doesn't go away, you know, just with electoralism, or at least not with electoralism for presidency, at least. Trump is a symptom. He is not the cause. Getting rid of him doesn't make everything better. Yeah, absolutely. I have to say this live is getting a lot deeper than I expected. Yeah, I mean, you know, as sorry to like swing it that way, but I'm a very politically minded person, and like once things are allowed to start taking a turn into politics, like that's where my mind and conversation goes. We still have like a paragraph or two left of the book. Granted, Trump is a bleeding head wound. Getting him out is, you know, mission critical at this second, but it doesn't mean we're out of the woods. Yeah, no, absolutely. I do think that, you know, it is imperative to to get Trump out. But I do think, at least my opinion strategically, is that if you live in a state that is typically very, very, very blue, like there's no chance of it not going for Joe Biden, or if you live in a state that's very, very, very red to the point where there's no chance that it's not going to go for Trump, I do think that your vote is better used for a third party candidate than voting for a major party, just for the sake of breaking the two-party system, right? Because like after they get to like 5% of the popular vote, they get federal funding, and that will help things, going forward. Which is like it sucks that it's that way, because like I live in Washington, and like I'm just like, oh, thank God, I don't have to vote for Joe Biden. But like it also, makes me realize my vote doesn't actually fucking count for anything. I live in DC. Are they tear gassing peaceful protesters everywhere, or just right next to? Oh, they've been it's been everywhere, man. Like I'm not sure if you've got Twitter, but this lawyer, Greg T. Duquette, has been keeping a general thread going since the start of this all, of like almost every, if not every, instance of police brutality we've seen since the beginning of these protests, and it's up to like 700 something. The last I checked, it might be closer to 800, because that was a couple days ago. But I know, like here in Seattle, like they were gassing, they were flash banging, they were pepper spraying. At one point, they brought out a sound cannon. The first car attack that we had here in Seattle, that like I was there for, turns out the guy driving the car was a brother of the police officer, like who worked at the precinct that we were protesting. It's like it's such an ingrained culture that like it's not just one place, it's everywhere. They see us as in the wrong, and I don't know what it's but you're aiding Trump, some Twitter my sister said that to me, and I had to explain to her how the electoral college works, because she was concerned about having to vote for Joe Biden after the allegations came up, because almost every, if not every, woman has dealt with that kind of stuff, and she was just like, I do not want to have to choose between two alleged rapists. And I told her, like, hey, you live in California, like, just vote third party. And she was just like, but that's helping Trump. And I was like, what are you talking about? Has to be done from the ground up. I mean, as long as it won't keep Trump in office, and vote for whoever you wish. But if you think that means you're doing much to break the two-party system, I'm afraid it's not that easy. Oh, no, trust me, I know it's not that easy, right? But, like, it doesn't happen if you don't, if you don't try. Like, will a third party break 5%? I don't know. Probably not. But like, the less people that try, aren't gonna. Socialist uprising in the UK was effectively squashed with the triple impact punch of Corbyn's defeat last year. Keir's Labour win this year, and getting RLB tossed out of Parliament a few weeks back. I just hope that the progressive uprising in the U.S. doesn't end up the same way. Yeah, I mean, I'm concerned about that. I'm hoping that, like, I don't think Biden will last the 4 years, and I think maybe there will be room for another dim to rise up after that, but I don't know. Right, but the thing you're putting your effort into won't be effective. No, I mean the thing is it's not a lot of effort to check a box, and like I said, I live in Washington, so there's no way that it's not going for Joe Biden. Washington went for Joe Biden in the primaries, which is like insane to me. I'm not saying don't try. I'm saying try something which might work. Oh yeah, the amount of my involvement doesn't end there by any means. But yeah, let's get these last two paragraphs done. Right, we hit the hour mark. Let's see. If you want to open a locked door, you can push against the wall as much as you wish. It is effort in trying, but it will never open the door. Yeah, I feel you. Let's see. One more remains. Bane. Should he survive this challenge, I can then expect the delight of luring the Batman, oh so battered, oh so broken, to my door. To, as has happened so often this night, the place he least expects, to my fortress, to Arkham. I patiently await my chance to deliver the final blow. Alright, that's chapter 10 of, trust me, I have a whole thing. If anyone out there wants my help doing something that will effectively build third parties in America, reach out to me. I will be more than happy to help. I might hit you a contact on that. But that's chapter 10 of Batman: The Rise of Sin Tzu. Next chapter 11, we're looking into the life of Ramon Domingo, space thug. So no one we've ever heard of before. Hold on. No, there's the lighting's weird. Ramon Domingo, thug. I was trying to do a political show actually for a little while there, but it got really discouraged after the primaries, and it kind of was like, okay, well, I'm not gonna keep up with this. But I do want to, at the very least, I'm hoping that once I get my financial situation figured out, I can get a better computer and start learning video editing a little more. I used to fuck around with it back in high school, and I recently tried to start fucking around with it again, but my laptop isn't very powerful, as you can tell by all of the frame skips in the what time is Ramon's it might be pronounced Raymond. There's no E on the end of it. But he is at 4:07 a.m. But yeah, I do want to learn video editing and stuff better, so that maybe instead of doing the political stuff as a live thing, I could not easily necessarily, but I could do it as a scripted video as I do my Watchtower database content. But yeah, so that's today's chapter. We didn't really have a lot of anything happening in it. Just Sin Tzu kind of being like, man, fuck, what am I gonna do? Fuck. And then so next week we will be discussing Ramon Domingo. Thanks you guys for hanging out, and there's always the DSA podcast. Yeah. I now that you mention it, I need to get in contact with the main guy there, because he told me a while ago, hey, get your notes together on this doc and then we'll record. And I thought he was gonna check in with me, but he hasn't, so maybe I need to check in with him. But yeah, so thanks for hanging out. Thanks for listening to my political jargon. I don't know that James is too terribly comfortable with me using the the Watchtower database platform to talk politics too often, but I don't think I said anything that like he would be against. So who knows? But you know, come through on Sunday for the Batman: The Adventures Continued #7 breakdown on our YouTube channel, and then you know, as next week as per usual, we will be doing our Twitch schedule. James on Tuesday, Ted on Wednesday, and me on Thursday. I don't know what game Ted's gonna play next. I think he's going through. Blame it on you. It was all Danny's fault, James. But yeah, I don't know what game Ted's gonna be playing next time, because he was able to get through Superman pretty quickly in just 1 week. I know James will be doing Justice League Adventures #12. I will be doing my chapter on Ramon Domingo. We're getting really close. We're getting really close to the end of this book. Ramon's gonna be chapter 11 of 14. I think once we hit like 13 or 14, we can discuss like what book everybody wants me to do next. I've got a couple different ones that I haven't done yet, through, you know, because I used to do the streams on the channel, and then I also was doing them on my personal channel. But I've got plenty of DCAU books, and if I start running out, I can always buy more, because they just keep making them. I'm kind of leaning towards maybe looking at Paul Dini's, and I don't remember who else was I don't remember who else, because Paul Dini I think only was part of, but the Mad Love novelization that came out a year ago, maybe 2 years now by this point. I bought it like the day it came out, and I've only read the first couple of chapters. Oh, hey. That's my Mad Love collection right there. Paul Dini and Pat Cadigan. Yeah, this is my collection of Mad Love. Right? I've got the original print, and then the 2 different trade paperbacks that they released, Mad Love and Other Stories and Mad Love Deluxe Edition, because they both had different stuff in it. And then I've got the novel. I still don't have this, and I want to find this, but you know, it's not quite up there on the top of my list. I got the original comic at a what you call it, a second hand, like, I don't know, nerd kind of store, right? Like, they sell games and records and CDs and movies and action figures and, like, you know, just all that kind of stuff. It's like a buy sell trade place, but it was only like $50 there, right? And that thing goes for hundreds of dollars. So like, yeah, I mean, there you go. Like a graded copy is $500, $420. Those are both the trade. What are they selling for on here? Okay, $65, but that's a 6.5. But yeah, so you know, because it's the Harley origin. It's not even Harley's first. It's not even Harley's first appearance. That's Batman Adventures #12, which I still need to get a copy of. I got the recent like dollar version, the reprint that they did, but I want the real deal in my collection at some point. For now, the dollar reprint is a nice placeholder while I was flipping through my Batman Adventures stuff. And then, like, I also found Harley's first appearance in the main DCU at a Goodwill a couple months back for like $1 or $2, and that's another one that goes pretty expensive. But yeah, God, I miss Goodwill. I wish coronavirus were over. I miss work, kind of. I think I just missed leaving the house. I miss knowing where my money's coming from, because I still don't know what's up with unemployment. But anyway, yeah, you know, we're finished here with the book for today, and we could talk about all this later on, whenever we decide to, you know, what book we're choosing next. So y'all have a good day. I need to eat something, because I haven't yet, and I'm gonna need to go to the grocery store in a second as well. So y'all take it easy. I'll see y'all next week. Love ya. Love y'all's moms. Love your stepdads. Goodwill is the only reason to want Corona gone. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's also the people dying from it and not getting to see my friends, you know. But yeah, Goodwill's a pretty good reason, I feel like, personally, for myself. But yeah, all right. So that's it for the day. I'll see y'all, you know, Discord, Twitter, all that kind of stuff sometime later today, probably. And I will see y'all next week when we talk about Ramon Domingo. I need to start working on my next Lost Batman episode script. So I'm gonna go do that and eat and go to the grocery store. I have a busy day. All right, y'all take it easy. Bye.